Well, hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here. We're going to do a live podcast of the feed. And, of course, the guest is the one and only Keely, CEO of TNT. How are you this afternoon?
I'm very good. Wow, Michael. When have you done this before? A live podcast with so many people here outside of a TNT. Tell me this is a life first.
This is a life first. Never done anything quite like this. And I've never seen a store opening like this. And I've seen a lot of store openings, including one with Britney Spears.
No.
That was nothing like this.
I don't
compared to
believe
this.
that.
That's true.
It'd be pretty sick if we had Britney Spears at this grand opening, wouldn't it?
Well, it was a while ago, and it was a pile of fun, and you and I are going to have a pile of fun. Got a bunch of questions. Let's get going. Let's jump in.
Let's get going.
All right. So for the folks in the audience and the folks listening at home, let's start talking about you. Talk about your background and what it is you do for a living. I introduced you as the CEO, but to say a little more.
Sure. So, hi, everyone. I'm Tina. Tina Lee, CEO of TNT Supermarket. Woo! I am so happy to be here in San Jose. Is my voice coming across okay if I talk to people too, like this?
Yeah, that's
good. Is this okay?
That's good. Everybody here?
Okay. So, yes, born in Vancouver, BC.
Yep.
And my parents started TNT Supermarket in 1993, Jack and Cindy Lee.
Right.
I was 13 at the time, so I've bagged a lot of groceries, let me tell you. So what else about me? So yes, so we have a whole TNT journey. I was born with TNT green in my blood. And
you have some connection here. You've got a couple of connections, not just to California, but actually to this this geography right here, right? Talk about that.
Absolutely. So I actually did live in California for 6 years of my life. I went to UCLA. I'm a Bruin. I don't know if there's any Bruins out there.
Got a Bruin out front.
I got some.
All right.
I got Bruins here with me. So I went to UCLA. So I worked for Deloitte Consulting. I'm a ex-consultant, an ex-green daughter, if that's the way they call it over there. And we spent 6 years in California.
Yeah.
And life was good. I mean, like, the weather's so beautiful. I played beach volleyball, was making good money and a good job, and everything was good about life except there wasn't a TNT in my life.
You were missing something.
Something
was missing from your life.
So badly. So, even from that moment, I knew that TNT had a chance, and that was,
That's
20 years ago, I thought there was a chance for TNT to be in California.
Right.
And I do have connections right here in oh my God.
A little windy there.
Wow, that's a good catch.
Thank you.
So where was I?
You were talking about that you had something missing in your life.
Yes, I did. And then
And
I
that
said
was
there's
TNT?
a connection right here
Right.
in San Jose. So we are in San Jose, California on the opening of our first store in California in San Jose. And I have a local connection here. My aunt number one, because my mom is the number 3 of 8 children. So we call our aunties by their numbers. So auntie number 1 lives in Saratoga.
All right, that's close by, right?
In Saratoga, so she's right around the corner. And I wanted to open the store for her because I've had so many wonderful summer memories, beautiful summer memories in San Jose. And again, the only thing missing was TNT. And it really leaves, you think it's just a grocery store, but it leaves a bit of a hole in your heart when you don't have the food that you're used to and that that mom brings home. So I've always thought and was convinced that TNT should be in San Jose, and here we are today.
And you touched on the origin story a little bit. Talk about, though, it's a really interesting story because I like to talk about how the personal and the professional or business kind of intersect, and that is basically the genesis or origin story of your business, right?
Yeah, that's right. So the origin story of TNT, right? Okay, so my parents immigrated to Vancouver, BC.
Yep.
And at the time, there weren't very many places to do your grocery shopping, Asian grocery shopping. Really, you had all the small shops in Chinatown, and it's actually a very beautiful tourist area today. But in the time when you're really trying to buy your daily needs, you had to go from butcher shop to bakery shop to herb shop to produce shop, and we didn't have any shopping carts. It's always raining in Vancouver, and there's no bathrooms, and so it was very frustrating shopping experience.
And your mom had what, a couple of 3 kids trailing along.
Yeah, did you? Yeah. You know it. So we had 3 kids, sort of in tow, and one time I had my cousin with me too, and my cousin had to go to the bathroom so bad that he ended up just peeing his pants. On the back alley of Chinatown. My mom was so frustrated. She's like, that's it.
I got to fix this.
I've got to fix this. We need an Asian one-stop shop grocery store, something like a Safeway, because Safeway was the thing back then in the 80s in Vancouver, BC. So we wanted an Asian version of Safeway. And so my father and my mother got some investors together. My father was in the trading business. And so we had some leads. Like they were door knocking, doing food trading. And so we had a little bit of that in our entrepreneurial story already. Jack did. And then my mom became the head of the retail business because my dad was too busy with the wholesale business. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And look at what it is today. I mean, we went from Vancouver, BC, expanded to Alberta, then Ontario, and most recently Quebec. Yeah. Quebec was very hard to crack.
Very hard.
Honestly. Maybe harder than Seattle.
Lots of language legislation and all that stuff. Now,
I will tell you, can I say that Quebec was very good practice for United States? Yeah. It was practice on building the muscle to do to get up to speed on all things compliance. And so I think we are good at that now. And so when it came to entering and opening new stores in Washington, I think we did it somewhat with a lot of bumps, but somewhat gracefully. Yeah. And certainly now that we've opened the first store in Bellevue, we are so delighted with it. We felt so warmly welcomed by the Americans, and so it gave us the confidence to open this store right here in San Jose, California.
And total of number of stores open as of today in the entire. How big a business are you?
Yeah, we have 40 stores
40,
now.
40. This is the 40th store.
Yeah.
Wow. 3 in America, right?
3 in America.
3 in America. The rest in Canada, a lot. And you're opening more. We'll talk about that at some point. Now, I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to interview Pete Nordstrom from Nordstrom's. I see there's a Nordstrom rack. And he was telling me that he started in the family business on the loading dock over high school, loading boxes. What was your start in the business? You mentioned you were packing bags.
Yeah, yes, definitely. How I started the business was working at the end of a cashier till, bagging groceries, racing against my sister, Tiffany. And by the way, people in the crowd, you may not know, but do you know what TNT stands for?
That's one of them. That's one of them.
Yeah. TNT stands for Tina and Tiffany. Tiffany is my sister. Yes. So my parents, Jack and Cindy, named the business after me and my sister, Tina and Tiffany. And so going back to the story, though, me and Tiffany would bag groceries side by side, and that was where I got started. We would race to see who could do it better.
Who was better?
I was definitely better because I was taller.
Oh, I see. A little bit of height, a little bit bigger wingspan.
And I actually have a brother. It's so interesting. And he was so short that he had to stand on a milk crate and could only work in the back of house of bakery folding cake boxes. That's our story.
There's a role for everybody in retail. Now let's talk about the store. So lots of people have been waiting and are in line to get in now for their first experience of walking into this San Jose location or any other one of your stores, really. Sure. And what are they going to feel here that they might not feel in other grocery stores or other retail experiences? You put a lot of thought, I know, into the experience, not just the, we want to make sure you can get in, find what you're looking for, but also, shopping isn't just about getting a thing done. It's cultural, it's social, it's all those things. Talk about what they can expect as they shop TNT.
Well, I really do want, and we design for, your shopping experience to be fully immersive. And we want to activate all the senses in your body. I call it 6 senses retailing. Yeah. As soon as you walk into the store, I want to light up everything. And we design for energy. And people in the crowd here, we design for qi. We want to have great energy in every corner of the store. So you come into the store and you're going to we want you to feel happy, joyful, energetic right away. You're going to get hit with produce first when you walk in. It's going to be bright,
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yep.
bountiful. We pile it high and we let it fly. We move volume.
You do.
But
you
it's
do.
so enticing to the eyes.
Yeah.
And so that's how we light up what you see in the store. It's colorful. We get you excited right at the entrance. We want you to touch and feel the fruit. So I'm a big fan of selling fruit loose. Yeah. Even though it means it's harder for the cashier to check you out,
Yep.
I think it's really important to be able to touch, feel, smell your fruit. So we do that. That's activating a lot of senses already. I'm very particular about the music that is being played in the store.
Talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I want it to be upbeat. I want it to be enjoyable,
Energizing, not distracting, though, right?
energizing. Like it's not classical.
Right.
So if anybody's looking for classical in the store, they're going to be a little bit disappointed. It's going to be, we actually cater just a little bit. We cater for the age. We know that older people shop in the morning, so we make the tunes
Right.
from the 70s
Interesting.
and 80s and 90s. And then, well, not the 90s, 70s and 80s. And then when you go into the evening, we know a lot more younger people are shopping in our stores. So we'll make it more K-poppy,
Very
C-poppy,
very
Canto-poppy. Yeah, so that's what I mean by designing for the energy, right? We care about what you hear. We care that you smell the aroma of bakery when you walk through the bakery department. And there's lots of sampling in the store, so you're going to taste something when you walk through our stores too.
And that's just not a store opening kind of few days, right?
No.
Sampling is a permanent fixture of the experience.
That's right. It's a permanent fixture of your TNT experience,
Yeah.
especially on the evenings and weekends. Like that's peak time. You're gonna be able to taste test something when you're in the store. But lastly, I'll leave with this, which is we even design for the moment you get home and you've got TNT food on the kitchen table. We think it is such an honor to be featured on the center of that kitchen table. And we design for that first bite into the food. And in that moment, if you can say, wow, so good. That moment.
That's the
And in
moment you're
Chinese
looking
we say, wow, 有大同华真好, which means it's great to have TNT nearby. That moment, that so good moment is like an architectural melody for us.
Now you've already established and you've already got buzz going on. This is a hard thing to generate.
Yeah.
In any, it's very busy, very crowded. Everybody's very busy, but you've been very successful already in becoming, a cult favorite. Someone described you as a cult favorite.
That's crazy.
Like an overnight cult favorite. You don't find a lot of those. So
No.
you talk about architecture. How do you derive that sense of discovery before people get in the store and create that excitement? Very active social media, very dynamic. Is that one of the things you do? And talk about that for a bit.
The social media piece is a little bit by accident. So first of all, just on the basics, we really do, we're a very, I want to say, innovative business. We try to introduce new trendy products all the time. We can innovate, because we do a lot of their food and bakery production ourselves, we can innovate new products all the time. So every time you come back to the store, I think you can discover something new. That's a really important treasure hunt part of shopping at TNT week to week. That's the basics. If you have something worth talking about and
Right.
worth sharing with your friends and family, the social media and the organic sharing and the word of mouth sort of does its own thing. That cult favorite and the cult following comes from not just me, but everybody that is so excited and having great bites of TNT food. That takes a life of its own. What I mean by the social media being an accident, especially my personal presence on social, was I was dark on social for, after graduating, most of my life after graduating. It actually took COVID to open it up.
Okay.
Because during COVID, it was really hard to find ways to communicate to our customers. We
Right.
were doing so much on all things COVID. I felt like we were leading in terms of COVID practices, and I had to communicate with our customers what they needed to do when they came in the store, and everybody was wearing masks, and we could only communicate with our eyes. And so we're like, okay, let's use the social channel to communicate with our customers in a way that, in a time when people were really lonely. I think it goes a long way. I mean, I feel like we've built a really tight community online, and it feels like when I'm in the store and I meet people, I've never met people, but they come to me and it's
Feel
like
they
we've
know
known
you.
each
Yeah, they feel like they know you already, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. It's
great.
wonderful.
Let's talk about this store for a little bit. So quite a journey to get to where this store was, and you were sharing yesterday that when you first saw the store, you weren't sure it was right for TNT. But talk about that journey.
It's true. So we're at Westgate Center in San Jose. And Westgate Center, the landlord here is Federal Realty. The head of Western Operations is Jeff Preshik. And Jeff came up to Canada and saw a TNT supermarket opening, and he was absolutely floored. And he said, we have to have this concept in California. It's going to be my mission to bring TNT to California. And so he kept on courting us, even though we weren't ready. I mean, California is a big state, an intimidating state from a business standpoint.
Sure. Lots of regulation.
Lots of regulation. And we had just opened up Seattle. And I thought I would just keep filling up Seattle before coming down to California, but Jeff was really on it. He showed me this location. I came to it. I took a look. And the first thing I said was, no thanks. I don't want this location. Because it was too small.
Right.
I don't know if you remember. Okay, let's make sure that this umbrella doesn't fly off the stage.
I got one eye on it. We're okay.
Let's not have an injury here. I'd like to keep both of us alive in this windstorm.
In an optimal, yeah. Suddenly the wind's picked up. So it used to be, I think it was a smaller format store, not bright enough. You needed more space.
I needed more space, exactly it. So I said no, and then he went away. He kept thinking about it. He turned out to move 2 tenants from the mall side to a different part of the mall in order to get the store to be 55,000 square feet. And finally, I'm like, okay, let's go.
And you'll experience that as guests. The guests will experience that as they go in, and they'll see this kind of T or an L shape towards the back. So
that's right.
For all of those who are in line, when you go in the store, that's what happened, right? So you push that store back to make enough room for you to be operating, and you'll see what wonderful stuff is happening
exactly.
in there. Now let's talk a little bit more about operating. So lots of experience operating north of the border in Canada. What's different about operating here? I saw a few stickers on product. Of course, we've got French language legislation on some of the product. TNT's got an amazing private label. But if you could compare and contrast for a minute, what's the difference between operating in the U.S. and operating in Canada?
Yeah, so the most obvious difference is how much heavy lifting we had to do on regulation. I'll start with the packaging. Obviously, in Canada, our packaging is in English and French. And in the States, it's in English. But if you do put another language on it, everything on the package has to also be in that language, including the nutritional table.
Right.
Yeah. So,
right.
So much, we had to source a lot locally, and anything that we made ourselves or wanted to bring over from Canada or from Asia, we had to totally redo the packaging. And think at the beginning, this really was an entrepreneurial endeavor.
Sure.
And we only had one store, soon to be 2, and now 3. But 1, 2, 3 stores doesn't do anything for you in terms of volume. So we don't have the resources to buy that much packaging for only 1, 2, 3 stores of volume. So it's a little bit embarrassing, but for some of our private label product, we had to put a sticker over the French in order to bring it here, in order to sell it here. So that's a clear differentiation on packaging. Lots of regulatory differences. Here in California, even different from Washington State. Anybody doing business in California has to comply with Prop 65. So Prop 65 is warnings for carcinogens and other chemicals, and it's a different level of a lower threshold than the FDA. So any retailer doing business in California would have to make those changes, and it was a tough slog to get it done, but we're there and we've got it. The other thing, if I can just add one more thing on the difference between Canada and the U.S. We tried something unique in this location in San Jose that we don't have in Canada, is in our seafood department, we put a deep fryer and a steamer and a hood. It cost
$1 or $2.
Yeah, it cost a lot of money to put it in. But it's because we saw it as a trend. I think our hypothesis is that there's a pretty big Filipino population here in San Jose, and they love to have their whole fish deep fried. Thank you so much. They like to have their whole fish deep fried at the supermarket before they take it home, and then continue to cook it and dress it in other sauces.
Huh.
So we put it in this store. We're going to see how it goes, but we don't have that in our Canadian stores.
I was going to say, I have a local T&T near where I live, and I looked at that and I said, I don't recognize that at all. And there's a fair bit of product on the shelf that looked familiar to me, but there's also some new, as you said, different product. Now, from start to finish, when you first said no to this store to today, what are we talking, a year? Longer than a year? How long's this journey been?
Well, from saying no to opening a store, 3 years.
3 years.
I've been wanting T&T to come to the United States since 2016.
It's a long
The
journey.
first email that I sent about let's bring T&T to the United States was 2016. We did site selection, we did all this study, we were ready to come, and then COVID hit, and we dropped everything.
Right.
And then after we got our footing after COVID, that's when we picked up picked up the gears again.
Yeah, everyone lost a few years.
Everyone lost a few
in
years.
COVID, there's no question.
Yes, but you know what? Can I say something about the
Yeah.
COVID experience?
Yeah.
It was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. And after getting through that, and I feel proud of those days because we worked so hard and I think we did it the best we could, it gave me confidence to enter the U.S. The U.S. is not the hardest thing I've ever done.
Right.
Although
Right.
it's ambitious,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
bold. The speed that we're going is also bold.
Yes.
But I want to say the scars of COVID got me ready for this.
Well, it built up, I think it built up
Resilience.
resilience, right? And I still hear it today, sometimes there's supply chain issues or whatever, but then you kind of look back a couple of years ago to the COVID era and say, it's nothing compared to that. We got through that.
We got through that.
We'll get through this. The stores are not closed.
Yeah, and this is about growth.
Right.
That was sad. That was about people not dying. This is about growth.
Right.
And creating jobs. We hired over 330 people for this location. That's more than a hypermarket, okay?
Right.
So this is about growth and job creation and sharing our love for food. It's much more exciting.
You mentioned food, and as I was on a tour yesterday, we were walking some of the media through some of the different tastings of the food, and there were certainly some big hits in there, like the Papa Chicken.
The Papa Chicken.
Was
you got to buy that if you see it.
It is a personal favorite, that crunch. And as you kind of navigated the store,
Yeah.
and as you think about it, you start in fresh and you kind of walk over all the way to bakery, right? And there's a bit of a tip for the people standing in line
Okay.
when you get there, right? You said, if you really want some of these savory treats,
Yes.
here's a hack. What's the hack?
Okay, this is a good one for people that are standing in line. I shared it with a small group yesterday that Michael was walking around with. Anybody here that is not solo, like you have two people in your group, this is the pro tip that I gave Michael, which is when you go inside, the longest lineup inside is in the kitchen department for the savory crepe or the fan tuan, the rice wrap. So if you're traveling today, you're visiting with a group of two, one of you, as soon as you enter, one of you gotta book it to the kitchen department and get in line. Okay, one of you book it to kitchen and get in line. The other one takes a shopping cart and start shopping. By the time you finish your shop, your husband will be at the beginning of the line in kitchen. Okay, so that's the pro tip for anybody that is here with more than one person.
Last thing I want to talk about your assortment is one thing that's always stood out to me is the beauty department, because it is not an ordinary, in any way, shape, or form, beauty department you would find in a grocery store. I mean, it's very impressive, bright, premium brands. Talk about your philosophy around the beauty department.
Yeah. We've been in the Asian beauty category for between 15 and 20 years. Let's call it 18 years. We have been at it in Asian beauty. So I feel like we're almost the OG in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's just off the charts, all over social, and we really have become a destination for K-beauty, J-beauty, Taiwan beauty, C-beauty, all Asian beauty. You're going to get all the premium brands, the mass brands, certainly the trendiest brands come to T&T first. Yeah.
Was that discussion with the vendors early on, did you get some But wait, you're a grocery store. I'm not sure my product belongs. But I imagine now they call you. But
They call us.
Is that how it
We
started?
move the most volume of K-beauty in all of Canada. Like, move over, Sephora.
and it's merchandise.
Us and shoppers. Us and shoppers.
All right.
We're going to own it.
You're going to own it, and it's merchandised so well. You know, the beauty people like to see their products merchandised.
That's right. It's
well for
beautiful.
everyone.
It's clean. And we have testers out. If you see a woman in the section wearing black, so she would be our beauty advisor, and she can give you some tips.
Right.
Yeah,
Right on.
and we've always got a good deal. So it's like, it's the real stuff. We don't sell any fake stuff. It's the real stuff, and it's exactly what you're seeing on TikTok and Red and Instagram, but at supermarket prices. So you're also going to get the best prices, the best value for K-beauty in a TNT. And you don't have to buy like 6 bottles at a time.
Right on. Now you mentioned just as we were talking about beauty shoppers, you
Yeah.
mentioned this thing, shoppers. So let's talk about should we call it the parent company or partner Loblaw?
Sure.
So you're part of a large organization called Loblaw, which has many stores in Canada, and that was since 2009, I believe.
2009, we became
2009.
part of the Loblaw family.
Now your family's still at the helm, drives the business. You've got great resources to tap into
That's right.
in Loblaw. So how does being backed by Loblaws make a difference to the people standing in line here? I mean, you've got such resources to tap into, but talk about that, how it's made a difference in the business.
Well, I am very grateful to our partners at Loblaw. I like to say we are, TNT is a part of, yet apart from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like being on pad in a strip mall.
Right.
Or on a mall. It's like being on pad, just like those units over there. Proudly a proud of, like you said, we are one call away whenever we get stuck. There is an industry expert, some of the best in the world, certainly the best in Canada. We're one call away from that expertise. So that's really helpful. And we're apart from because they really appreciate the uniqueness of our business, and they allow us to have they want us, they invite us, they allow us to operate in the best way that we see fit for our unique customer base. And they're so game for it that they have fueled our growth with capital. So while I'm opening one store at a time, it feels like a very entrepreneurial push into a new country.
Yeah.
But we're backed by Loblaw's capital and expertise, and I could feel them rallying for us. Like, when I need them, they're there. If I don't need them, they give me the freedom to do what I do. And so it's been a great partnership so far. In many ways, while Loblaw is a public company, they're still a family business in some way.
Yeah, that's right. We're still connected. They still understand the dynamics
They
of family.
totally understand the dynamic.
I think what they're very good at is they wouldn't partner with someone and then decide to run them, because they partnered with you for a reason. You're a great business with a unique idea. So let's not mess that up. Let's just keep operating. Now, one thing, couple last questions. One thing that Loblaw is amazing at is private label.
Yes.
Control brand, sometimes we call that. TNT, you've got some of my favorite products are your control brands, your organic jasmine rice that's backpacked. for example.
Nice.
That's my favorite product.
That's a good one.
But talk about the role of private label in the store and maybe even beyond in the Loblaw family for those listening back home in Canada.
Sure. Okay. So, well, if I may just address the folks that are watching right here, I do want you to explore TNT private label products when you get in the store. They're really, really good. We spend 9 months on every single product from beginning to end in order for it to hit the shelf. And when we introduce it in that category, they usually take off. We are very smart on quality. We take extra care on food safety. The taste profile, some of the best ones I want you to try is green onion pancake, pork soup dumplings, 小笼包, TNT brand 小笼包, TNT brand barbecue pork buns, okay? These are some of our absolute best sellers. Like, the #1 selling barbecue pork bun in Canada is TNT brand. You should look for it when you're in the store. So, absolutely gotta check it out. And I know so far in Washington, people are loving the TNT brand. And it does connect with Loblaw because we actually had a house brand in the early days, like in 2007. And we named it Mom's Choice after my mom, Cindy.
Okay.
But when we went and explored, we admired President's Choice and No Name. Like, these were Canada's most trusted, they still are some of Canada's most trusted brands. We admired it so much, we went to learn how it's done. And retailers from all over the world come to Brampton to understand how it's done.
Yep.
And so we got the inside track on the development cycle and the process and the care that each product gets. So we learned that the knowledge exchange is what we extracted the most. And then we took it back to our house to do the product development, because still, to get that authentic flavor, we relied on our chefs to get it right. So that was hard for Loblaw to do. We could do it, so they taught us the know-how. And now, from that moment in 2009 to today, we have over 600 SKUs of T&T brand in Canada. I think it's more like 300 here in the United States. We haven't figured out how to get them all here yet. But it is now Canada's #1 Asian food brand. And it's not only distributed in T&T stores. It actually, once it starts to shine, once the product starts to shine in the T&T stores, then Loblaw, we introduce it to Loblaw, and then you can get the T&T branded product in over 1,000 stores, coast to coast in Canada. We can get it to Victoria, where we don't have a store. We can get it to Halifax, where we don't have a store. And so that's absolutely our vision too. We want to reach as many Asian Canadians and help them build a connection with home, help them share their culture through food, down through their generations. And if it means getting T&T product into the Real Canadian Superstore, let's go.
Let's go. All right, well, last question for you. And it's a funny question considering it's day one opening of a store, but what's next? So beyond San Jose, what's next is, it's been a busy day.
What's next?
It's a funny question here up on the stage, but what's next? What's coming next? What can people expect?
Okay, so I bet not everybody knows, even here, what's next. You guys are here for our very first store in California. Today, we're opening San Jose T&T. I have already announced that our second store in the Bay Area is going to be San Francisco City Center. Okay? Yeah, some people...
We got some cheers there.
Yeah, I don't know if the mic can pick it up, but we have people here in the crowd that have driven down from San Francisco. That's an hour-and-a-half drive, people. So San Francisco City Center, Geary and Masonic, you're going to get a store. We also have a third location I've already announced in the peninsula in Millbrae. Anybody from Millbrae?
Oh, we got some hands up there. Yeah, we got some hands up there for sure.
So Millbrae is getting a T&T on Real Camino. What was that? El Camino. El Camino. It's on that street. It's the old Lucky's in Millbrae. So that's our third. And by the way, since you guys weren't here this morning, at 8 o'clock this morning, I made an announcement for a fourth location in the Bay Area. We're going to come in with store number 4. I don't know if you've seen it so fast in the news yet. It hasn't broke, but let me tell you now where the fourth store in the Bay Area for T&T is going to be. It's going to be at New Park Mall in Newark, right close to Fremont, Union City. I got you. Yes. Newark, New Park Mall. And I hope that store is going to be 70,000 square feet. It's going to be the biggest one in the Bay Area.
And this one's 55, right?
It's going to be bigger than this store that you experienced today. I expect to serve the whole East Bay. I want people to drive down from Berkeley, drive up from Milpitas, drive west from Pleasanton, and we're going to rock it out in Newark at New Park Mall. Come 2028.
Well, there you go.
4 stores.
Breaking news brought to you on the Feed podcast. Tina, it's been such a treat having you on the Feed.
Live on the feed.
Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks everybody for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the session. And this will be live in your favorite podcast platforms in the fall, and there'll be video on the YouTube channel and all that great stuff. And Tina, every minute I spend with you, I learn something new about retail and about grocery. Thank you for doing what you do, and it was a real treat having you on the mic.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Oh my God, we lost the camera. Good thing this is not live.